Welcome to Real Women of Bastrop, where small town charm meets big time grit. I'm your host, Lindsay Cana, sixth generation Bastropian, realtor, and community cheerleader. Around here, we're more than big hair. We're business owners, mamas, creatives, and quiet powerhouses. And this podcast, well, it's pulling back the curtain on the stories, struggles, and strength of the women who keep this town running. Because every woman has a story, and around here, we believe yours matters. Let's get into it. So I was thinking about when I first met you, and obviously I think it was when you did my hair a long time ago, when you were working at a salon on Main Street in Bastrop. I think that's the first salon I came to see you at, right?
Yep, that was the first salon I started working at
Yeah.
in Bastrop. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was a while ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. I think before, I don't know, I might have had Addie, my firstborn. I'm not sure.
Addie, but she was the only babe.
Girl. Yeah. So yes, long time ago. I've been with you for a while. So yes. So
I'm thankful for that. Thank you.
oh yeah, thank you for keeping my hair fantastic. But no, so what landed you in the Bastrop area? And I know you grew up in the area, but yeah, why Bastrop?
So I was living in Austin prior, working in a salon in Austin. I was pregnant and I just was like, okay, we're living in an apartment. I was like, I just don't want to raise my son in Austin or in an apartment. My parents were living in Bastrop, and I just thought, a small town would be great. And plus having my family there to help. I had never done booth rental before.
Okay.
So it was my first time, and just found a salon, loved the location of it in Bastrop, like you said, on Main Street. Yeah. And it came really easy for me whenever my booth rental career. So with never doing it before.
So did you always know you wanted to be in this industry? Was it always a calling, or is it something you stumbled upon? Or tell me more about that.
So I always did my friends' hair in high school. I did their makeup, in college. And I just remember thinking, there's no way I could stand on my feet, do the same thing every day, all day.
Yeah.
It just seemed like no. But I tried college. It just wasn't for me. I finally, after I think it was like 3.5 years, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to cosmetology school. And it was the first time I was doing something that I felt like I was actually good at something. It came so easy to me, and I was just happy. So, I feel, and what's really funny is a really good friend I had in high school. Her name's also Lindsay. I was looking back at my yearbook from my senior year randomly a few years ago, and I saw that she had put, hey, I'll see you in the future when you have your own hair salon. And I thought that was so funny. I was like, how did you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah. So always something that you felt drawn to, though, it seems like, and then just dove into it.
Yes. And it's been wonderful for me.
Yeah.
Especially booth rental. I love that aspect of the hair industry, and being able to be your own boss, be your own independent contractor, have your own business within a business. It's just a great way to brand yourself.
Yeah.
Especially now with like Instagram, all these social media platforms. It's a great place for hairstylists to just, become bigger than they ever would have in any other type of industry.
That is true. Much more exposure and ways to get out there for sure. Okay. And then also, like, I feel like you're a therapist too, not just hair.
You know what?
I'm sure you hear
I
the
always
craziest
said,
things.
my gosh. Well, and it's like back and forth, right? I feel like I have so much empathy for people because how many people I see, and it also I have moments where I'm so thankful for my career, because just like everyone, I have moments where you might feel like you're struggling with something alone, or maybe like how you feel about something or how you've done something, you feel like I'm a bad mom, or I'm a bad wife, I'm a bad this. And then you hear your clients say the same things and you realize I'm no different.
Yeah.
Like to me, it's been wonderful for my clients to share, good times, bad times, because it makes us like, we're more alike than we know.
Yeah. No,
I think all hairstylists, we should have a fast track to becoming a therapist anyways.
I agree. You should, hours of it, you have to have some kind of like semi-time.
Absolutely.
No, it's important. That's why I wanted to start this podcast, is because just talking with women, I had an aha moment, and I was talking to a friend that I knew, and she was telling me a story, and I was like, "I never knew that about you, and you need to tell people that story," kinda thing, and I just thought, like, bonding over similarities is so much better and more productive and beneficial for us than just finding the differences, and so when we share our stories, it just helps everyone, I think, especially women, but,
Absolutely.
I know sitting in your chair and hearing some of the stuff you're going through, especially lately with all the perimenopause stuff, I'm just like, "Oh, yes, it's hard."
Yeah.
We have, we're all going through it together, so it's not like you're an alien out here just going through all the.
And I was so thankful for my clients when that happened to me
Yeah,
because I had so many of my wonderful clients that talked about it before I even was going through it.
right,
So I knew what to expect. So
yeah,
I was so lucky that I was not like, oh my God, what's wrong? I was like, okay, even though it was still so hard when
sure,
I went through it, knowing exactly what it was, knowing exactly what to do,
yeah,
it was still such an emotional, like really hard place for me.
yeah,
But it was just having that knowledge that so many women gave me
yes,
and then the support that they gave me when they knew I was going through it, it made it so much easier.
yeah, I
So
think
I mean, talking about these things is absolutely imperative.
I agree, I want to find someone that knows a lot about it, a doctor, a medical doctor to have on and do a group session or something, I
Oh,
think.
that would be great.
Yeah, so can you tell me a little bit more about that, or do you mind sharing your journey
No,
with
I don't.
that, and then what you've done to kinda work through those things that are happening with perimenopause?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, it was like a night and day shift. December, I felt the best. I was just turned 40
Mhm.
in November. December, I felt the best I felt in a long time. I felt like my weight. I just was so happy. And I thought 40 is going to be great. And then January, I woke up one day and I didn't recognize myself, how I felt. I have anxiety. I'm an anxious person, but I never have anxiety that bad. But one thing that was also really bad was I woke up one day depressed.
Mm,
And I've never personally suffered from depression. And so that was such an isolating
yes.
and scary thing because it had thoughts of like, like I don't feel like I'm worth much right now. Like,
Mhm,
and it was
yeah,
just going to a really dark place. I knew that this depression was from perimenopause.
mhm,
So I had that wherewithal, but it was still a struggle. So I reached out to Olivia Blankenship at Solage Med Spa. I knew that I would go the direction of hormonal replacement therapy. She was like godsend. She was an angel. My first consultation was, I might cry within, a few minutes within my appointment. I didn't even get the first word out and I'm bawling.
yeah,
I had no idea. It was such a relief to be there, but it was
yeah,
also like someone is going to understand what
yes,
I'm saying. Even though so many people had understood, it was like, but someone's going to help me
yeah,
with that. And so, I gained 15 pounds in like a month.
mhm,
I couldn't lose my weight. I kept gaining. And when I started, really being strict with my diet, there was no losing weight. There was no losing weight. It was just staying at the same weight.
right, right,
And so it was just so many things on top of one another that just made it's amazing how much hormones
mm,
like control us.
yes,
And from what I've learned is that perimenopause is the hardest. That shift of the low testosterone for women. It's the first shift, massive shift of hormones
mhm.
that we've had in years and
Yeah,
the
it's like going
depletion
through
of hormones.
puberty again.
Oh my gosh.
It's
And
crazy,
I
it's like
was
a second one.
bless my husband because I was just a different human when I was
Yeah,
going through that. I was
yeah,
not nice. I
yeah, okay, so that mean part, it really is though, it's like you can't control it and everything just makes you so aggravated, and
yes.
I'm hearing from friends and they're like, I don't I feel mad all the time." I think so many women don't know what to do about it, so they brush it off like, "Oh, it's gonna pass. I'm gonna wake up one day and feel better," but I don't think that happens. I think that you have to get some
Yeah.
kind of help, whether it's, HRT or whatever it is, creams, whatever. Even just talking to someone, right? A therapist.
Yes. Well, and I think we're just so used to for years having a cycle, right? Where we're
Right.
PMSing and then it's
Stops and
over.
starts.
And so this is the first time that it's like, wait, and that's what was so hard for me in January was I remember saying, and it like all these things started to go, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Like my PMSing got really bad and longer. Then wait, I've been PMSing for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I am in perimenopause. So yeah, it's and you feel guilty when you get so when you're unhinged, you know what I mean? Like you
Yes.
don't want to react these ways. And so
Yes.
like not only are you feeling such anger, but then after the anger, you feel so guilty. And because you can't control it.
Yeah.
It's something that's you try to, and it's just the smallest little thing. And so, the mom guilt, the wife guilt.
Yeah.
So, my husband was very Troy he was a saint during that time.
That's
So,
that's good. That's important. It's very important because it can be very isolating, and
oh,
then you
absolutely.
think a lot of women want to isolate themselves, right? So that they don't snap on people or react in certain ways because they don't know how to control it almost. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they say like statistically, like divorce rate in women in
Oh,
perimenopause, menopause age is high. And what's really sad is when I learned that suicide rate
mm,
is really high for women in perimenopause and menopause.
well,
And that to me is I think is what's so amazing about right now when we're on Instagram and we're looking at reels, there's so much more
yes,
about low testosterone. This is what I'm doing, perimenopause. And it's not a hush hush embarrassing thing.
right.
I feel amazing now that I
I
have
do.
my HRT. It was truly the day I woke up, and how I explain it to people is I would wake up in the mornings prior to being on it. And I just was so overwhelmed in life. I could put on paper why I was overwhelmed and it made sense,
Right?
but I would wake up in the morning and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this again. Like,
Yeah.
as in, I don't want to go through another day of like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to lay down in bed all day.
Yep.
And I remember it was maybe a week into my HRT, maybe a week and a half. And I woke up and I remember I was so happy. I woke up happy and I was like, this is so amazing.
Oh,
Like, it
gosh, got chills.
changed my life. So, I've become such a better wife, a better mom, but about me and my husband have connected even closer after this because I'm a calmer human.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it's really easy having like a better connection when you're calm. And I never realized that I was actually struggling for years with hormones,
Oh, well.
and it was just building up that
Mhm.
this was such an amazing and one of my best friends, actually, we spent the weekend together a few weeks ago, and she was doing testing for hormone replacement therapy. And so and I believe she just got on it. So to me it's like when I hear more women being around our age saying
Yeah.
hey, I just did that, it makes me happy because the struggle I felt with it, and which it's not all going to be the same for everyone. If a sliver of that struggle anyone feels, I mean, there's no reason to feel that way.
Right.
So
No, and thank you for sharing that because I think someone listening or watching will think, "Oh my gosh, like there is help out there. There is hope." I think just the first step is hearing it, right? And knowing because I mean, you can see
absolutely.
all the things, but when you hear someone share their story about it and the change can happen and the first step is going and talking to someone and just sitting down and it might not be hormone replacement therapy. Like I said, it might be something else, but at least you're talking to a professional who knows about it and they can guide you, towards your next steps to gaining yourself back, getting back your
Absolutely. Yes. And one other thing that I found really like as Olivia, and I'm not going to be as, verbatim, obviously, as she, but how she explained HRT to me, which is how I explain to my clients, is, a lot of times as women, we'll go to our OB-GYN
Yep.
and it'll
Yeah.
be your numbers look fine. You're good. And how she
Oh,
explained
yeah.
it is
Good
that
point.
our numbers, like we do this in life naturally. Like our
Yes.
testosterone's here when we're in our 20s, but it's
Mhm.
here when it's in our 40s, but that's natural.
Yeah.
So, I believe my count for testosterone, it was 19 when I first started. I cannot remember the numbers, but I think maybe like 25, 35 is a normal,
Wow. Yeah.
40-year-old woman. And so they might look at those numbers and say, well, you're just a little off, but not far. But what they're also saying in that same sentence is that, and this part of life, this age, it's normal for you to struggle with this stuff.
Yep.
Whereas HRT, what it does is it takes you to the tippy top of your trees where you didn't deal with any of these things. And it takes your numbers, your testosterone numbers nice and high, or if you need estrogen as well. And it takes you to where you're not having to deal with that. Hey, it comes with age. It's just a part of life. It doesn't have to be.
Right.
And I think that's a really important thing because
Yes.
I think that's where there's a lot of confusion is that I've been to my doctor and they didn't give me, anything. It's that, unfortunately, HRT is not covered by insurance. And so,
Yeah.
but it is absolutely doable. And even though not covered by insurance, but med spas like Solage offer that. And I think that's amazing that they do.
Yeah. Yeah. No, great. I love that. Okay. All right. Off the perimenopause. I love that it went there though, because I mean, it is so important and I never know where these conversations are going to go. I've had a few and they've gone in different directions, which is great than I originally thought they would. But that's the beauty of this is that you don't know where it's going to go, but we're going to use this information to help people and help women. So it's good.
Absolutely.
Okay. So we're going to do a little, have you done played rapid fire before or lightning?
Oh, let me sit closer for this.
I got to be on the edge of your seat for this one. Okay, so I'm just going to call out some things and you answer. Okay, so we'll just start with the easy ones. Coffee or tea? Heels or sneakers?
Girl.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I know it's heels.
For the people out there that don't know.
There are sneakers that have heels now.
There are wedged sneakers. And actually, that's funny because those are the sneakers that I have are wedged sneakers.
Do you have them? That's cute.
Yeah,
Of course you do.
I do.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh gosh, I'm an early bird, but I can be a night owl, but I'm trying to stop being a night owl. So, but definitely early bird.
Yeah, yeah. I know anytime I have to stay up past 11, I'm like, I know I'm going to be just groggy tomorrow, even if I don't drink anything. It's like done.
Yes.
Okay, most used emoji?
Probably the crying, laughing one.
Same.
Yeah. Or the skull, because it's like someone said something funny and I'm like dying.
Yeah, I like that one too. Favorite season in Texas?
Ooh, I love spring. I love spring because it gets so like the fashion gets bright.
Oh yeah.
And we're coming from wintertime and it's dark and drab and it's like all the flowy like fabric. So and then springtime, all the wildflowers in spring.
Great. First job ever?
I worked at a coffee shop, my first job ever.
Ah, where was that?
In Lockhart. I graduated high school in Lockhart. It was called Java Motion. And it had a train that went around the whole
Inside
coffee shop, like a little small train.
Yeah.
So I worked an espresso machine for a while.
Fun. Okay. One thing you can't live without.
My Adderall. Oh gosh, I have ADD.
I love it.
So bad. And like squirrel all the time. So she keeps me in line.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
it's definitely not, and no one be worried about me.
No. Okay. Most irrational fear.
Oh man, I feel like I have a lot of them. My most irrational fear.
No, I feel like you do too.
Oh, just like that I'm gonna one day it's all gonna like I'm just gonna mess up. Like one day something bad, like I'm gonna mess up with something and I'm going to mess up my whole future. I don't even know what that something is. I have really bad, I try not to call it imposter syndrome because honestly, this is my first time owning a business. So like, I'm just new. I'm not necessarily an imposter. Like I feel like, in Scooby-Doo, whenever they find the ghost and they peel the mask off and they're like, it's the sheriff. I feel like they're going to be like, he thinks she's a business owner. So that's like but I feel like,
it's common.
It's common, but I feel like being a duck on water, I've learned a lot with it, but I feel like I've made myself proud with it too. So
yeah, turned it in a different direction. No, I think that's good. Okay, and then the final one. What's a hairstyle trend that makes you cringe every time it comes back?
Oh gosh. Okay. There's a couple. Like I know everyone. I even did this like a few months ago, and I was like, "What curtain bangs?" Like, here's the deal with curtain bangs. I
just done them when I came to you, and I was like,
"Yeah,
I should do them," and you're like, "No,
no."
You
So the thing with curtain bangs is, I tell people, I'm like, "Okay, where is the photo taken. When you bring in this inspo, it's definitely in a salon and their hair was just done. Like the way you have to style curtain bangs, like it is not normal for hair to do this.
Yeah.
That
Come
like
together right there. Yeah.
it's not normal.
Yeah.
But also, let's say that you pinned your hair, you curled towards your nose, you pinned your hair and it's set, right? So you're leaving your house and you have legit curtain bang.
Yeah.
The moment you walk out in the humidity, it's over.
Yeah.
It's
Which in
over
Texas is all the time.
every day. And so, or the wind,
Yeah.
they're not practical. I
Yeah.
no. Okay.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on.
It was a good to be on the other side of things.
Yeah.
I was a little nervous.
Were you?
Well, like I'm used to like the setting in the salon and like,
Yes.
having that conversation and so I was like, oh, this is like a different,
Yeah.
it was super easy. It was great.
Good. Okay, good. I don't want it to
Yeah.
be like uptight. I want it to be like natural conversation, and you're great at that.
Well, thanks.
All right, babe. Well, thank you so much, and I will
You're welcome.
soon. Have a good day.
Happy belated birthday.
Thank you. I know we'll have to have drinks
Yeah.
soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, girlie.
Bye.
That's it for this episode of Real Women of Bastrop. If today's story moved you, made you laugh, or reminded you of the power of community, share it with a friend and please leave us a quick review. It helps more people find these stories and the women behind them.